as there's been an increase of, violence against these communities in the wake of the U.S. invasion of Iraq, the context of Iraqi Christians, the Arab Spring, the emergence of ISIS. And these narratives of Christian persecution often cast these communities as like exemplars of Christian resilience, glorifying both, as I kind of noted, their ancient character or their modern day martyrs, as we'll kind of get into in this conversation. And yet, when those communities kind of migrate to the West, they face ironically, new forms of exclusion. And that's where Martyrs and Migrants really kind of takes up the story. So as I mentioned, Coptic Christians are the largest remaining community in the Middle East, and they're central to this story, specifically since the 1980s. And as I noted, there's new waves and, of Coptic Christian immigrants to the U.S. in the 1970s. So in the 80s, we see the glorification of kind of Coptic martyrs in the American religious imagination, shaping this theology of the persecuted church, which is very much an American evangelical theology, but has been taken up by many others, which claims that Christians globally are facing unparalleled persecution. And what's ironic about this is that, one of the targets of missionary activity, Coptic Christians, are now cast as a kind of spiritual kin, fellow Christians suffering for their faith. And we have these images, I mean, in some ways, circulations like a pilgrimage of the bloodied, Coptic bodies and their hagiographic accounts circulating widely within both the evangelical conservative Christian networks and what I call in the book an economy of blood. And what I argue about this economy is that it organizes kind of kinship, or like who sees the other as like a Christian, as one of their Christian brethren, and difference through both kind of theological and racial evaluations of blood. So like theologically, blood is, obviously signifies the shared blood of Jesus Christ that unites Christians in salvation and suffering. But politically, this shared sense of kind of persecution is very uneven, as the book tries to kind of detail. So Coptic suffering is taken up by American evangelicals and many others as this like triumphant vision of mainly Western Christendom. Like their persecution is mapped onto an American Christian train that sees specifically white Christianity as under threat.